The world outside was silent. Empty streets, closed shops. A virus had pressed pause on life as she knew it. Inside her small apartment, Sarah felt the weight of isolation pressing down. Days bled into each other, marked only by the monotony of news reports and the growing anxiety in her chest. Her grandmother's recent passing added another layer of grief. Gone was the comforting presence that had always been there, a constant in a world that seemed determined to change. Now there was only silence, amplified by the lockdown. Seeking solace, Sarah found herself reaching for her phone, dialing a number she knew by heart. Her grandmother's landline. The familiar ring, unanswered, became a painful reminder of her loss. Day after day she repeated this ritual, dialing, listening, disconnecting. It was a futile attempt to bridge the chasm of absence. The act of calling became a lifeline for Sarah. It was a way to cling to the memory of her grandmother, to feel a momentary connection in a world that felt increasingly isolating. Each unanswered ring was a sharp pang of grief, yet she couldn't bring herself to stop. There was a strange comfort in the routine of it all, the dialing of the number, the anticipation of the ringing, even the disappointment of the unanswered call. It was a tangible expression of her grief, a way to keep her grandmother's memory alive in the silence of her apartment. The world outside might have been on hold, but Sarah's grief wasn't. It was a constant companion, a shadow that followed her every move. The phone calls were her way of acknowledging that grief, of giving it space to breathe. It was more than just a phone call. It was a ritual of remembrance, a way to hold on to the love that death could never truly take away. "Hello?" The voice, faint and crackling with static, pierced through the expected silence. Sarah's breath caught in her throat, her heart pounding against her ribs. For weeks, she had been met with only the empty ringing of an unanswered phone. Now, someone was on the other end. "Hello?" the voice repeated, laced with a note of tentative curiosity. Sarah struggled to form words, her mind reeling from the shock. Had she dialed the wrong number? Was this some cruel trick of her grief-stricken mind? Who is this?" she finally managed, her voice barely a whisper. The voice on the other end chuckled softly. "That's a good question," it replied, the sound strangely familiar yet distant, like an echo from a dream. "Perhaps you can tell me, who were you hoping to reach?" Fear gave way to confusion, then a flicker of cautious hope. Could it be? Was it possible that somehow, in some inexplicable way, she had reached her grandmother after all? "Grandma," she whispered, her voice trembling with a mixture of disbelief and longing. The voice on the other end sighed, a sound filled with a lifetime of memories. "That's what they used to call me," it said, a hint of melancholy in its tone. "But it's been a long time since anyone has called me that." Sarah's mind raced, trying to make sense of the impossible. If it wasn't her grandmother, then who was she speaking to? And how was it possible that they were answering her grandmother's phone? "Where are you?" she asked, her voice barely audible. "How are you answering this phone?" The voice chuckled again, a gentle, reassuring sound. "That's a long story, dear heart," it said. "A story for another time, perhaps. For now, why don't you tell me about yourself? Why do you keep calling this number?"